knew that Samsung is based in South Korea and therefore would not have to worry about the tariffs. I'm not sure what to make of this beyond the fact that Donald Trump is listening to Tim Cook on this issue.
Well, I'm sure they had a long dinner and they talked about a lot of things, and this is what he came away with. You know, a lot of times he tweets things that aren't exactly what happened at the dinner. So I'm sure he mentioned that they compete with Samsung and that it's competitive, but I doubt that Tim Cook was making, I don't think he's on with these tariffs at all, like the trade war that's going on with China. So I think Donald Trump selectively listens to what he hears. That's my guess. And obviously, Tim Cook is probably being polite and cordial. He has a policy of engagement, even if he doesn't agree with people. And so I suspect it was not exactly what was said, but who knows? Who's going to, because I know Apple won't say anything about what was said.
Right. And Tim Cook, you certainly won't hear him widely call Samsung a really good competitor or maybe even mutter the name of Samsung at all. But I wonder, I mean, we were hearing the president talking about Mac Pro parts and how they weren't going to be exempt from tariffs a bit ago. I think some investors felt like maybe the president didn't care about Apple and the impact of tariffs. This does seem to at least give people a different side, a different look at that relationship or consideration.
Yeah, I mean, these parts are assembled here, but they need to be brought in from somewhere else. And so they're going to lead to high costs for consumers if these tariffs are in place. And so that's the question is how do you, there's all kinds of ways to do this, but one of them is not to manufacture these parts in the United States, which is never going to happen. You know, Apple makes the stuff here. They have stores here. They have vendors here. They are using Gorilla Glass from, I think, Kentucky. But the question is, parts come from across the globe, and this is a global universe for most manufacturers of consumer goods, including especially electronics. And so the question is, are there going to be higher prices, or is the president going to think a little more with more complexity that is involved? He tends to not think complexly, I think.
Kara, you know, it's amazing to me because quite a number of manufacturers, American manufacturers, have come out and made very similar arguments about the role tariffs have in making their products, given globalized supply chains, the role that tariffs have making their products less competitive against foreign competitors. Yet this does seem, based on these comments from President Trump, that Tim Cook was able to make the case and he was able to hear it here. Do you think there is, I guess, a leadership or management playbook that other companies need to take note of where Tim Cook is concerned and his outreach towards the White House?
Well, I think Donald Trump is a unique individual. He likes meeting with the head of Apple, Tim Apple. And so I think he likes that idea of them coming to him and consulting with him. And I think he's influenced by the last person he talked to. I think it's good to make compelling cases to him. The question is, will it change the next day? And so a lot of these tariffs have been all over the place from inside the White House, and he changes on lots of topics. And so I think it's probably good for Tim Cook to have had dinner with him and been engaged with him. I don't know the lasting nature of it because you just never know with Donald Trump what he's going to say from one day to the next. And I think stressing the issues around how many jobs they created, making their case, is probably a smart one for Apple to do, because I mean these free trade is very important to a company like Apple and a lot of companies across the United States.
I was going to say, Kara, it does seem like Apple's comments and some other things have helped the president's thinking evolve. He's now talking about tariffs affecting consumers, Christmas, our big companies' competitive positions. That's a long way from saying China is paying for all of this.
Well, I don't know what to say. I mean, I think I think the way this has been done is not it's such a complex topic, and it's not a reality show. These are people's jobs. These are very complicated relationships. And while you may have a really good point about China and trade tariffs and things like that, there's ways to do it that maybe aren't quite so much a hammer and more delicate. It's a delicate surgery, and there may be need for changes, but it's really important for all the sides involved to engage the president and at least get his attention and bring him to mind ideas. He has a lot of respect for other business leaders. So I think Tim Cook probably has a lot more heft than a lot of people, but we'll see. He's also attacked Apple quite a bit and attacked Amazon and attacked Facebook. So I think it's probably best to engage, probably, and that's probably the adult thing to do, and that's what he's done.